Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we got Playa Props, which did us dirty last night here, man. 2-2. We were so close. We could have middled some stuff. Not important. We went 2-2 because I laddered Giannis and only put 0.75 on Harden's under. We managed to still make some money there on the 2-2 night in player props. So we continue to roll along, man. Up about 26 units on the season. 50 and 39 in play of props alone here. So also check out the best bets video that we have up for you today and every day as well by following along, like and subscribe to that page. Also want you to head to thelines.com. Check out the written content that we are throwing up on the site right now. Plenty of good picks, power rankings. The NFL is in full swing as well. It's a busy time on thelines.com. We also have the odds finder tool up there you can use to make sure you're getting the best juice available to you for all of these bets that you are making in the NBA this season. Nate, let's go ahead and get right into your first NBA play prop for the night. Another 3-1 night on the way for the kids.
Yeah, and the important thing is that I won our little debate about James Harden's assists, even though that wasn't important. The specific bet. So yeah, another six-pack coming my way from Josh.
Takeaway.
We have some clear targets here tonight in terms of trying to find over on player props. It's the Hawks-Pacers game and it's the Jazz-Lakers game. That's where all of our picks are coming from here. In this Hawks-Pacers game with a 251 total, good Lord, I will take Jalen Johnson over 25.5 points, rebounds, assists. Half a unit there. I think you can go half a unit on the juice here for the assists. For 3 assists is plus 140 is the best price you can find. It's plus money everywhere. His assists have been down lately. Frankly, the Hawks have been playing, stuffy, slow Eastern Conference teams lately, and there haven't been many open floor opportunities for him to throw nice passes, but he's a very good facilitating forward. On the season at 2.6 assists per 100 possessions, average just 30 PRA per 100 possessions, and 25 in general, just whatever the pace is. But this is Indy. They play at the fastest pace in the league, and they also allow the most paint points, most free throws, third most fast break points, and third most points overall. What they do limit is they chase people off the three-point line. So I think there's going to be a lot more on the interior here, a lot more opportunities for Jalen Johnson to get down low, get his points there, get some offensive rebounds. They give up the 8th highest offensive rebound rate, does Indy. They give up the 7th most points and rebounds to power forwards and an above average amount of assists as well. So, like I said, the recent matchups have kind of been harder. He failed to hit against the Knicks, Pistons, and Heat, which you might expect, but had 30-plus PRA against Philly and Orlando and New Orleans, back when New Orleans was playing tough defense, and OKC, which is playing great defense now. So, even if it's an average matchup, I think Jalen Johnson will be all over the floor, but this is like the greatest matchup for any position, especially for like a slasher who's just going to be in there getting boards and getting, fast break points.
I'm so glad you did this because as I was like straining over this last night, I couldn't take Obi Toppin overs reasonably. It's just he's so random, and he is the position to attack this Hawks team, like you pointed out with Jalen Johnson. And then I got to thinking, like, why isn't Jalen Johnson the starter? This is so weird. It's probably a matter of time, to be honest. Obi's the type of player to come off the bench anyway. This is going to be a solid matchup, as you said, for a dude that is. Dude, he impresses every single time I see him. He and his Jalen brother out in Houston, both really similar, really nice games. But let me go into a guy here who I have an 80-1 ticket to win Rookie of the Year, which isn't going to hit because Victor Wembanyama plays basketball in the NBA. But you're going to all realize that it wasn't the dumbest thing as I've been ridiculed for. Keontae George, over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. The shift has arrived. Talen Horton-Tucker and that experiment is dead, thank the Lord, in Utah. He was having an awful season, and he was taking all of Keontae George's minutes. That's why Keontae George has now gone over in his last 4, because he overtook those minutes and resumed his role, actually really started his role. He never was the starting point guard, and now he is. He's the starting point guard on this team. In the first 8 games, he had a 16% usage on 21.5 minutes per game, backing up Talen Horton-Tucker not getting in, also getting hurt for a few games. Last 4 games went since Will Hardy finally decided that he was done with the Horton-Tucker experience. Last 4 games, 21.5% usage for George, 30 minutes per game. His 3-point attempts are up to 6 per game as well, which is something you like to see. Like there's a green light there, and there's a ton of assists there, which I did not know that. Like I definitely knew enough about Keontae George to like him after seeing him play and watching him at Baylor, but like I didn't know that he was going to be a point guard that could control the game, and he's up to the 12th most potential assists in the league over the last 4 games since he started as the starting point guard in this league, which is wild, man. Up to about 14 potential assists per game in that time, which is, like I said, I mean, the names that he's next to is hilarious, like Luka Doncic and Trae Young and company. So I'm really impressed with his ability to sort of break guys down off the dribble. Tonight, he'll be looking to break down D'Angelo Russell off the dribble, who has the second worst defensive rating of any rotation player after Taurean Prince, which is very surprising because I was pretty sure Prince was there to lock people up, but he's been struggling to defend the wing as well. So I don't even know you'll be able to get much help from him right now on the wing. If Keontae George is able to get into the lane and get those assists up, he's got a couple of double-digit assist games, including 11 recently, which is amazing. The Lakers allow the 10th most points, rebounds, and assists combined to point guards. If you combine all those stats, they allow the 5th most three-pointer attempts and made overall to opposing teams. George is a shooter. That's why I was so surprised to see him facilitating so well. It's like he's just an amazing shooter who can get hot and then is like a Jordan Hawkins style, just don't miss, right, from UConn last year. But yeah, I think with D'Lo on him, with the way that we know the Lakers struggle to guard point guards, the fact that there's going to be a decent pace with the Lakers playing at home where they play a bit faster, I think Keontae George, we haven't really reached his the lines haven't caught up to how good he's going to be this year.
Yeah, love this one. I was going to tell you immediately, like, great pick, because I mean, this may be the only reason that I was kind of leaning towards, like, maybe the Jazz aren't as awful as they were early in the season on the road, and maybe I could see them covering 7.5. It's because in these last 4 games, right, Keontae George stabilizing force on offense, so that they've been able to overcome their horrendous defense with pretty good efficiency on offense. You're not asking Jordan Clarkson to initiate things as much. You're getting Markkanen the ball in spots where he can attack instead of way out on the perimeters. I mean, Keontae George just ahead of his time. Probably going to be on the all rookie team for what it's worth in your defense. And I wouldn't say Wemby's got that rookie of the year locked up at all. No. I think Chet is probably neck and neck with him at this point. Totally. I mean, Wemby has not been that great, to be honest. I mean,
that's wild. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Chet when I was standing 7 feet behind him as he hit a tying 3 against the Warriors the other night.
Yeah, courtside seats for the kid. Let's stay in this game though, and I mentioned in the best bets, I like Cam Reddish here to hit 2 threes. It's plus money everywhere. It's plus 135 at Bet 365 using the prop finder tool. Get the best odds there, and he's playing heavy minutes right now. The Lakers like him a lot after a couple other teams didn't even want him in the rotation, didn't even care for him on their bench for whatever reason. But maybe that gave him some extra motivation because he's been playing pretty good defense. The steals are way up. But I mean, he's a pretty good knockdown shooter right now in his last 5, hitting 1.5 threes at 40%. And some of those matchups have been pretty tough. And there's an obvious correlation here to when he didn't hit 2 threes. He hit 1 3 in both matchups with Portland. They're 4th in terms of limiting 3-point attempts. He hit 1 3 against Houston, 3rd best 3-point defense. He hit 3 against Memphis's league last defense. He hit 2 against Sac, which is the 6th worst in terms of 3-point percentage allowed. Utah, as I talked about, they're just over helping right now because they don't have Walker Kessler to protect the rim. You saw when they played the Suns, they gave up 18 threes both matchups. They're now giving up 16 threes in their last 6 at 41% clip. That's the worst in the league. On the season, they give up the 5th most 3-point attempts. And on the road, they have the 3rd highest assist to field goal ratio, which indicates to me when you have LeBron or AD drawing double teams from one elbow, you're going to get the ball zipping around. Reddish might not even be the first pass out from LeBron, but you just keep rotating it, and he's going to get wide open looks. And if he's a 40% 3-point shooter, I expect him to hit. If he gets 5 looks, I expect him to get this prop. So I already bet it. I love the plus odds, and I'll take it.
I like it too. I'm with you on the Cam Reddish pick. It's a classic LeBron player, man. Oh, you guys, nobody wants this dude. You don't see how good he is. Great, I'll take him. He's exactly what I need, which is a dude who's athletic, can hit wide open threes when I pass it to him, will shoot it every time I pass it to him, and is a good defender that doesn't like leave me hanging on the other end of the floor. So yeah, Cam Reddish is a guy who he got the like really unfair JaVale McGee treatment. Remember how JaVale was like really good at first, and then all of a sudden he was Shaq and a Fool's main character, and then the internet just turned on him, and it was like, wait, this dude's really good still. Why don't you realize that he's an incredible backup center? But anyway, that's kind of where Cam Reddish has landed, and you're great to find plus money on 2 threes for him against a Swiss cheese defense in Utah. So to close things out, I'll just take his boy LeBron James, his big bro, if you will, at this point. I'm just going to take the points for LeBron because I think he's going to be playing a lot of bully ball. I feel very confident he's going to be playing a lot of bully ball, and I don't really want to have to worry about him diming up. It's like 8 assists, and the rebounds are all the way up to like over 8.5 for him. So the points at 25.5 didn't really scare me. He loves playing Utah since last year because it's the same lack of defense that they have, and Walker Kessler's not in there anymore either, as we've spoken about. So 30.8 points per game in his last 4 versus Utah, 51, 38, 88 splits for LeBron. So I really like the fact that he's also only taking about 5 threes and hitting, just south of 2 of them. His 34% usage rate against this team also tells me, like I said, once he gets into the lane, why would he stop and just keep going all the way to the basket? He didn't really have to play Walker Kessler last year because he still wasn't playing very many minutes, and the year before is the prior 2 times he played this team without Walker Kessler once again. So the Jazz, like, look, we talked about it. They're allowing the 7th most points per game in the paint. Kessler's been hurt for most of the season. The few games he played, it's a stark difference. Like, and go back to last season with how they defend centers, how they defend the paint, when he's in, when he's not in. It's just he is the difference. They allow the 2nd most points per game to power forwards and small forwards, whatever you want to call LeBron James. Point guards as well, not great, but really just the most points to wing players and forwards in general. The top 15 points per game versus Utah this season in terms of players who have scored against them. Just look at who it is. There's only one guard in there, and it's Ant Edwards. Everybody else is like 6'8" to 6'9" to 6'10" and can handle the ball, right? Even like Harrison Barnes was the prototype, right, for a 36-point game against the Jazz, because they just don't have it on the wing. And once you get into the lane as a tall player, you're just as big and strong, if not bigger and stronger, than Lowry Markkanen and whoever else is down there really trying to stop you. So LeBron has gone over this number in his last 3 games, 5 of his last 7, and the unders came in complete blowouts, which you might worry about in this game because I did take the Lakers minus 7.5, but you pointed out why this Jazz offense has looked a lot better over the last 4, and it's because the point guard has become Keontae George, not Horton Tucker. So look, if he gets the 33 to 36 minutes that he's been playing, this should be a pretty easy over for him as he's just getting layups in the lane.
I didn't try to get on your case about this because we had so much dissent yesterday, but I do not endorse this pick at all. This is the front end of a back-to-back with Dallas Kairuka coming to town tomorrow for the Lakers. I don't think LeBron's going to play more than 30 minutes. Whether it's, there is the blowout risk here, but even if it's slightly competitive, I think they'd rather maybe lean on AD, their role players, against a really bad defense. I think LeBron's probably a little more geared up to face Luka and his old nemesis teammate Kyrie tomorrow. I think like even the PRA, like I think there'll be a lot of secondary assists for LeBron tonight. I think he'll be really orchestrating, playing that general role from the elbow, and just getting really good team offense for the Lakers, but not necessarily being like I'm going to take over LeBron, because he's had to do that too much this year, and I don't think they have to do that in this situation with the horrible defense coming to town. But they might the next night because it might be a 140 game with the Mavs.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not going to try to predict that, but I mean, if you're getting ahead of how much he's going to play, that's fair. I don't know if you're getting ahead of how much he's going to necessarily try. I guess they don't necessarily have to try too hard, to be honest, but either way, like he walks into 31. It's about the minutes, to your point. Yeah. So if that game theory is correct, then yeah, I'll have to eat that. I don't know that he can do it 2 nights in a row to that extent. If he's playing Dallas tomorrow night, that's a tough back-to-back, man, with the pace that they play at for him. So we'll see. We'll look to recap with you guys tomorrow, but that is all the time we have for you in player props here. Continue to follow along. Check out the best bets we also have up for you guys tonight. And until we see you next, Happy betting.